Welcome to part 2 of the Formbird Fleet application demonstration. If you haven't seen part 1, there is a link in the description and an index to jump ahead to the bits that interest you most. Let's get on with the demonstration with founder and CEO of Formbird, Mark Hosking.
One thing we've introduced is a concept of asset components. So we have both the concept of related assets. So this might be a trailer, a prime mover is a related asset, but we also have components. And a component is really an asset inside the asset, but it's really part of the primary asset. So it can't necessarily be removed, but you want to know it's there. And you might want to look at it for a number of reasons. Number one, it may be building up a composite rich asset, like a garbage truck or some other item. And this is a demo environment, so it's sort of gone to all extremes, including the engine. But, if you've got specific items in there, you'll want details on it. So that'll include the purchase price, the warranty period. And so if you're coming to service it, you want to know that this item is still under warranty or not under warranty, because it may be different to the bumper-to-bumper warranty. So this will be highlighted when you enter the service processes, that it'll say to the guys, hang on, this is actually under warranty. It was also came through because people wanted to be able to look at the capital cost of an item or of an asset and break it down into its subcomponents, so that they were actually comparing the Iveco-based truck with other Iveco purchases without saying, oh, look, this is a $500,000 truck. Well, it's not really. The Iveco base was still, 150,000, yet it's got all these other items on it that made it expensive. So it lets you have that opportunity to include it in the asset purchase or not include it. And then you also have the warranty period. It also gives the opportunity to actually provide a PM service against components as well. So it means that you can have a PM service schedule against a complex item that may have sub-items. You might be doing if you're doing things like garbage trucks, you want to look after the hydraulics or whatever it might be, and they'll come in at the same time, but you want to actually look that you actually done that PM service against that item. So this could be including safety checks on fire extinguishers. You might have a 6-monthly regime that says on the 6-monthly service you're going to do a pressure test on your hydrants or whatever it might be. Then, of course, registrations, warranties. Then you've got the financials. Some of these are obviously manually entered. Others are rolled up from, your operating costs. You'll also have your high rates if you're doing internal hire and nominating higher rates. So if you have internal hire rates, you'll have the internal hire rates there. And then you'll have the hire documents, whether it be, internal hire documents. Special notes and conditions. For instance, the special notes, that'll pop up almost everywhere. Things like daily driver check sheets, your work orders, etc. So if you've got something that it's a negative voltage vehicle or it's something or other, then you'll need to then your special notes will come through. You can put in competencies there, training competencies. So if I try and service something or operate something and I don't have that competency, it's not going to stop you, of course, from creating a record, but it will just warn you and say, hang on, you don't have that competency. So that includes at the work order level. So if one of your mechanics is trying to move a prime mover and they don't have that training and you want to, flag that's happening, you can create that there. Also against the asset, we have operating hours. And the operating hours are very much about when does a business expect the asset to be available. So this is looking at downtime. So trying to calculate the downtime as accurate as possible, so that if you come in on Saturday to bust your guts to fix this vehicle, it's actually not downtime because you're actually doing outside of operating hours. So of course you could set that to be 24/7 and then it's just that simple calculation of 24/7. But this is actually saying that I really only expect, some of our customers like Bundaberg, for instance, again, they keep downtime on Fridays for their garbage trucks. So if they operate and fix the garbage trucks on Friday, it's actually not downtime because it's a scheduled maintenance day. So you can nominate downtime and operating hours. This is kind of like your Instagram of Formbird. So it's showing where that image was taken, and if there was multiple images on the same thing, it'll have the multiple images and it'll have the description of it. So the mechanics, just not all the details. You can drill down to that work order. So work order 1337, which was a diagnosis work order, that was the image and that was the description. So it goes in chronological order, and it gives you a bit of a running history of the asset. So customers are starting to mandate how many photos they want taken for every work order or whatever. And particularly as the vehicle leaves and that happens at the request level and the work order level. So that's a repair request. So you can basically have, this is what was reported and this is what was done to fix it. Okay. At the work order level is like the mechanic fixing it. At the repair, at the request level, that's the customer, the driver or whoever else saying, I've got a problem. This is my problem. So you've got kind of both happening there. Our risk replacement program. So the risk replacement program, half the values come from the system in terms of consumption-based values, and then it's got subjective values, which really is looking at putting a weighting against each of those values to come up with a standardized methodology to look at a replacement program from a risk point of view, not from just a pure financial point of view. So it's kind of like the criticality of the asset to the business. Is it loved? How often does it get washed? Just simple things like that. Has it got significant rust or not? So balancing up between the value or the risk of that asset to the business versus the love and care that's been given to it and the condition it's in, to come up with a replacement value. And then that can be snapshot on a regular basis. And then as that changes, looking at what it was 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whenever you're running it, to determine, what's happening to that asset. You might find that you can, hire that from Joe's Hire down the road. So the risk will change totally because you can get it at short notice. Or you might lose Joe's Hire and suddenly this becomes a critical asset and all of a sudden you should be looking at replacing it or loving it a bit more, one or the other. So that's looking at a risk replacement approach to asset replacement programs. We have parts in inventory. You can run it as a kind of a complete inventory, or you can just purely use it on consumption. You can have a look at parts from a point of view of an individual part can be associated specifically with an asset. And therefore, like if you've got a spare transmission or something like that, it can be nominated, or it can be pure consumable. You can warehouse it. You can nominate a location. So you can put it onto a mobile vehicle or whatever else. You can have minimum stock orders. You can basically manage it like any parts system and inventory system, actually, more to the point.
Thank you for watching. To view the next part of the Formbird Fleet demonstration, click on the video. If you missed the first part, there's a link in the description. And please contact us via our website if you would like a personal demonstration.